have a chat?
Big one.
Yeah. Down. See the goal? I fucking stuck it, bro.
You're not even allowed to claim that, bro.
I know, but bro, I'd celebrate for my dad, bro. He's been talking too much shit, man. What's been happening anyway? Yeah, you like the highlight package?
Us, mate. Don't try and get on the socials now. No interview, mate.
I'm trying to get goal of the week.
Goal of the week.
Yeah.
Goal of the decade, bro.
Can you just get a mention in the live stream that he scored?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's Pushkash contender for goal of the year.
Yeah. In the 20s, one more.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
even mention.
It's masterclass, bro.
Oh, chat the after.
Easy, take it easy. Yeah.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to Illingdon Sports Centre for round 28 of the NPL New South Wales men's competition. All good?
Welcome to England Sports Centre for round 28 of the NPL.
I ran the whole way. You gotta chase it down, please. That's the one I want.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Illinden Sports Centre for round 28 of the NPL New South Wales men's competition. Tonight, it's Sydney FC taking on St. George FC. A game that, well, neither side really with much to play for at the moment. Sydney's finals hopes just slipping away in the last couple weeks. Even the slightest of mathematical chances for those that are most positive. Almost an impossible task now. Unfortunately, due to Sydney FC A-League's teams, short numbers at the moment, a lot of these young players are having to step up. Well, I guess it's not as unfortunate for them because these young boys get an opportunity to show their worth during pre-season in the Australia Cup. A good opportunity to show what they can offer and whether or not they can be counted on for the upcoming A-League campaign. We'll run through the lineups quickly now. For Sydney FC, in goals, number 12, Alex Zavardinos. Number 6, Tyler Williams. Number 9, Matthias McAllister. Number 10, Ty Headley. Number 14, Jared Middleton. Number 16, Nicholas Zdrilic. Number 21, Zach De Jesus. Number 27, Lachlan Middleton. Number 29, Joe Lacey. Number 33, Marin France. And number 44, Akol Akon. For the visiting St. George, a large number of outs for them. And just as they strengthened the side during the window, I thought they were perhaps going to push for a finals spot. They lost key players in Mark Rodic and Pat O'Shea, amongst a host of other names that they lost earlier on in the campaign. And Fabian Micheli, his first year in charge, hasn't been smooth sailing. They've played some fantastic football throughout this season, but unfortunately for them, the injuries have cost them a chance to be fighting for a top 6 spot. The game kicks off. Sydney in their sky blue attacking from right to left, and St. George in their red, white and green attacking from left to right. Their side lines up with number 99, Mackenzie Siren in goals. Number 2, Rocco Smith. Number 3, Troy Danaskos. Number 8, Evangelos Sudis. Number 9, Chan Yochan. Number 10, Jaden Casella. Number 15, Bay Antonio. Number 16, Caden Wright. Number 18, Yanni DiPizio. Number 27, Jaden Cito. And number 28, Jesper Weber. Early press as well from St. George, trying to force some early mistakes, and you can hear Troy Danaskos pushing that message on straight away to his team, telling him to keep it up, and it's exactly what they want at this moment. On the bench for St. George is Justin Poon. Poon, who's on his way to the Brisbane Roar for a trial. We wish him the best of luck. Had a fantastic season so far, as Justin Poon. And another one I think that's caught the eye for St. George this year, that's really surprised many with his performances, and that's Jaden Cito. Definitely been one of St. George's best, along with this guy, Bay Antonio. Two players at different parts of their footballing careers. Cito still young, aspiring. Antonio now a bit more experienced. Still a lot of football left in Bay Antonio's legs as well. (28 years of age, Bay Antonio. Sydney FC junior. Played for the Sydney FC NPL side once upon a time, almost 10 years ago now. He's right. One of the most technical players you'll see in the NPL competition. That's a bad foul there on Sito. McAllister, I'd say, a little lucky to escape without a yellow card. Unnecessary challenge from him. DiPizio, the ball gets through somehow to right, and Bay Antonio was making the forward run. Good challenge from DiPizio, but falls to the feet of Williams. Sydney struggling to get out of their half, first time now. And France leading the attack. It's a good ball forward. Akol Akon fell in back play, but found no real calls for a free kick either from him. This game started at quite the pace though. See how long you can continue at this level. McAllister. Oh, it's good feet there. Good strike as well, and took a deflection. I think that was Ty Headley. Such a nippy player around the box. You don't want to give him too much space. It's exactly what he can create. And from their first opportunity, Sydney FC go very close. Siren was no doubt worried there for a moment. Now they got a chance to put Siren under a bit more pressure here with a corner now. And Headley will deliver. Ball toward the near post. That's disappointing from him. Straight into the side netting. St. George get a reprieve there. Heavy touch there by Weber. And DiPizio comes across to clear away ahead of Akon. It's the only match of round 28 tonight. The action continues tomorrow at 5 p.m. Mount Druitt take on Sydney United. A big game there for both teams. Mount Druitt in the relegation battle. Sydney United trying to consolidate their 6th spot and ensure they're playing finals football in a few weeks' time. Another big one as well at Sydney Olympic at Jubilee as Olympic host Rockdale. And let's first see this free kick as Headley delivers again to the near post, this time headed away. Thought about the pass, goes on his own. Good feet from Headley. Wins another corner there. Sudis getting the block in. As I said, that Sydney Olympic Rockdale game. Again, two teams with lots of the line. Rockdale have, well, they've secured their final spot, but it looks as though the premiership has gone a little too far from them at this point of the season. As Headley delivers to the back post. Wanted the foul, but referee says nothing's giving there. And Olympic, of course, sitting 1 point behind the 6th place Sydney United at the moment. And the final game tomorrow night sees the Wollongong Wolves take on Spirit. And the Wolves have themselves got a fighting chance now of playing finals football as well. Come out of nowhere since the departure of Warren Grieve. They've really picked up the form. They take on the league-leading Northwest Sydney Spirit. Only 3 games away now, David Perkovic and Northwest Sydney Spirit of claiming the most unlikeliest of premierships. They've all but secured their Australian Championship position as well now. It's been absolutely phenomenal what they've managed to achieve in 2025. And for a team that expectations were to really just survive, from most pundits, most, not including myself. I have to make that very loud and clear. I expected Spirit to be pushing for finals football, but in no one's right mind did they think that Spirit would be challenging for the premiership, and absolutely nobody thought that they'd be on top of the table with 3 rounds to go and a 3-point buffer on their closest rival as well, with a game in hand, I must say. Heavy challenge there from Wright, and rightfully so. A free kick goes the way of Sydney. Spirit's game in hand, of course, against St. George. That one washed out last weekend due to the rain. So St. George had the weekend to prepare for this one. On Sunday, 4 games. The action continues. Apia take on the Sharks. That's a big game too. So many big games in these closing weeks. Well defended there. That should have been a goal kick. Weber did not get a touch on that ball. It's easy for us to see from here. I can see why the referee thought that a touch would have come off Weber last, but definitely should have been a goal kick for the visiting side. Instead, Headley can cause some damage here. Good ball into the area. Akon with the header. And Akon puts Sydney ahead. And does some acrobatics for show as well. And St. George will be very, very disappointed. But a good header from Akon. Got away from his marker. Got his head to the ball. And Mackenzie Siren couldn't do anything about that. I tell you what, Fabian Micheli is not happy, nor are the St. George players. It generally happens like that as well when a call doesn't go your way and it leads to a goal. Definitely doesn't bode well. Sydney lead though. Jimmy Van Wieren won't care, 10 minutes in. And they've pinched it again. Middleton played it through for Headley, and then they wanted a foul there on McAllister. Rocco Smith telling his team to switch on. Back to the big games for round 28. Apia take on Sutherland. Apia losing in the Australia Cup round of 16 to Avondale away in Victoria on Tuesday night. Have to bounce back now, put that behind them and focus on the league. The premiership still very much on for them, only 3 points behind Spirit. But they can't afford to drop any more points. Coming to Lambert Park is a Sutherland team that'll be high on confidence after their 4-0 win last week over Sydney FC. And a team that is well and truly in the relegation battle. And speaking to Steve Zorich, and they win a game, I think they're on the way away from the relegation battle, only the next day to see all their opponents have also picked up points. And it's really been the story of that bottom 4 or 5 teams on the ladder. Whenever one team picks up points, so do the others. No one really ready to go down. No one really ready to stay up either. Fascinating battle at the bottom of the table. Also on Sunday, Blacktown take on Western Sydney Wanderers. Central Coast Mariners, who are currently also in a relegation dogfight. They take on St. George, who still has slight hopes of finals football. So lots on the line there. And then Marconi round off round 28 at home to Manly United. Marconi also in the hunt for the premiership. A Manly side that's found some form of late. Not enough though to put themselves in the finals conversation. It was full work there by France, but couldn't find a player. Did well to keep that ball in. Sydney keep possession now. Smith back for Siren, who clears away. Yo-Chan going hard in there. And smart from Yo-Chan. Casella was offside. And now Danaskos for Casella, who's this time onside. Crosses across goal, and his delivery is blocked. It'll be the first corner of the evening for St. George. Sydney's already had 3, I believe. Corner comes in, good delivery. Yo-Chan was flying toward it. Sudis now back in. I'm not sure what's been blown here. I think this is a penalty. I think a penalty has been given to St. George. Or perhaps a dive, actually. I'm not sure because the linesman stepped in. So if the linesman stepped in, unless he's caught a dive here, and that's why the hand's gone up. Very, very confusing at the moment. Indirect free kick. Not entirely sure why it's an indirect free kick, and I wish I had some further information. Very, very strange call. Even Jimmy Van Wieren unsure what's happening. St. George have an indirect free kick here. And these are always tough. I mean, you've got literally 11 players standing in front of you trying to block the goal. You don't really train for these situations either. What can St. George come up with here? And Antonio shot is blocked. It'll be a corner. It was going for the bottom corner and looked on its way in. I can tell you that Fabio Micheli, who's generally very calm on the sideline, is anything but at the moment. Upset about the earlier corner that led to Sydney's opener. And now there, a call that not really anyone can explain. And where I actually expected a penalty to be called. They get a chance again from the corner here. Delivery toward the near post. Antonio was there. And they'll take another one. 3 corners in quick succession for St. George now. Can they make one of these count? Ball in from Casella's a good one. At the far post, Yo-Chan was there. As was DiPizio. Hacked away by the Sydney defenders. Throwing now to be taken by Troy Danaskos. Right, Danaskos delivers. Cleared away by Middleton. Yo-Chan trying to hold the ball up. Couldn't bring it under control though. Great feet from DiPizio. Casella's cross is blocked. Throw in for St. George. Here's Smith. One for Weber. Looking to run at Akol Akon. And Akon doing well to stop that run of Weber. Smith under pressure. Central pass for Sudis. Another that's been good for St. George this year. Yo-Chan looking to get it back from Casella. Went down. Raises his hands asking for the penalty, but not coming again. Referee not interested. But in those situations, generally if there's no foul, if you've got to book the player for diving out, unless there was contact but not enough. Oh, how about that for footwork? Cheeky little nutmegs. A fine for Rocco Smith is incoming as Antonio drives forward. Great ball for Casella. What a chance. Jalen Casella. Great save from Alex Zavardinos. Casella should have put this game level now. It was a golden opportunity. An excellent pass from Bay Antonio, but Casella couldn't capitalise. St. George have to settle for a corner. They turned the screw, St. George. First 10 minutes was very much all Sydney. The next 10, it's the visitors that have been in charge. Cross comes in toward the far post. Danaskos was there. Falls for Weber. And Weber looking to run down the outside, but got two for company and looking to get it back now. He does. Clips it in. It wasn't a bad ball. Couldn't beat that first defender though. And now Sydney can break the other way. It's Marin France. Good challenge from Rocco Smith. And Jimmy Van Wieren, I tell you, he's not happy with that. Foul there by Joe Lacey. Yanni DiPizio will be happy the referees asked for that one to be brought back because it was a very poor ball from him. That went straight out over the sideline. Danaskos. Good ball for Wright, and that was very close to being inside the area. Very, very close, but I think the first foul happened just outside the box. In fact, it was Bay Antonio who made the run and was fouled there. That was so tight. Another chance now for St. George. Low cross in this time. Oh, and that was inches away. This time Troy Danaskos. Read there by Smith. And siren clears away. Skewed that wide. Nicholas Zdrilic playing ball boy. Jumping the fence and grabbing the ball. Taking the throw now as well. Cleared away by Smith, and that one went above our commentary booth as well. Wright gets there ahead of Akon. Antonio. Ball played back by Wright. Siren was searching for Danaskos. He's fronts again now for Sydney FC. Sitting in a bit of possession now. They haven't had much of it the last 10 to 15 minutes since the goal, really. Casella can't find the pass to Chan Yelchan. Both teams giving away possession cheaply at the moment. Here's Sito, back to Siren. Clears away. Free kick for St. George. And another ball given away. So poor from St. George there. 1-on-1 now, Akon. It's a foul there by Weber. And Michelli asking the question of Chan Yelchan, why give away the ball so cheaply there? And let's open the chance up now for Sydney FC. Scored from their last set piece, a corner kick. Akol Akon got his head to that. What can Sydney do here now? McAllister and Headley both stand over the ball. It looks as though it'll be McAllister though. It goes direct here and Siren picks it up at the second attempt. And Jared Middleton getting ahead of, or in front of Siren, I should say. Not allowing him to play that early. Good ball there from Sudis. Now the Nascos. Antonio arriving at the back post, but too far there for Casella to bring under control. And now Sydney can attack again the other way, and they've got numbers forward. Sydney FC does here. Great run, but just run out of space. Akon put it away for good measure. Here's the Nascos now. DiPizio for Weber. And Yelchan, ball a little too high for him. Akon, Headley overlapping him. Gets the ball back, Weber, good challenge. Joe Lacey goes down, no foul though. Casella now. Read by Lachlan Middleton. Too far that one for McAllister. It'll be a throw for St. George on the far side. So past the halfway point. Sydney FC lead by 1-0. Akon, the scorer. A header after a Ty Headley cross. That found the unmarked Akon. Although there will be controversy over that goal. Referee incorrectly awarding Sydney FC a corner that led to the goal. And handball there by DiPizio, but Rocco Smith gets the yellow card for bringing down Lachlan Middleton in back play. I think St. George actually got away with one there because there was a handball just outside the box by Yanni DiPizio. Nevertheless, another free kick for Sydney. Zulic. And Headley. Lots of fouls. This time Antonio, and a lot of those little petty fouls have been free kicks, I have to admit. It's the other calls that have been a bit questionable. Another free kick opportunity now for Sydney. Lacey leaves it for Headley. Good delivery from Headley and good jump as well from Sito, who was fouled. Sordis for Antonio. Good turn from right, and Danaskos was making the run down the left. Cuts it back to DiPizio. Gets it back again. Those two playing a bit of keep ball between the two of them. And Yelchan's offside. Two controversial moments so far in this game, both working against the favour of St. George. The first led to the goal, the corner. The second, a potential penalty claim that, instead of being a penalty, was awarded a indirect free kick. Smith back for Webber. And they look to be flowing for a moment, St. George. But they've gone back into that early 10-minute lull and they've given the ball away again. Can Sydney punish them? Here's Headley and Rocco Smith comes across and clears away. And Danaskos asking his side to lift. They've most definitely dropped off after a very good spell. Just struggling to play the ball out of their own half. Sydney really bunkering them down now. Smith forced back again, and Siren has to clear first time with his weaker left foot. Now Smith clears, and Yelchan's onside here. This could lead to a fantastic assist, but Yelchan couldn't take the ball in his stride. But now you feel as though St. George needs to step up a little higher and put the press on Sydney to try and keep the ball in this half of the field. But they also need to try and find feet and keep possession. Not able to do it at the moment. That's why Sydney's on the attack again. Off the post there. Seemed a nothing chance. Siren, I guess he had that covered. And you'd like to hope he had it covered. At the near post. Ball coming off the outside of the uprights and going out for a goal kick. And France gets it again. McAllister goes down. Referee waves it away. McAllister may have slipped a little there on his way down. As Wright plays it forward for Yelchan. Yelchan plays it central now for Casella. Antonio, that's better from St. George. Now Webber. Nice pass forward, but DiPizio can't find the return pass. This time it's Jimmy Van Weeren's turn to be upset with the call from the ref. Sito adjudged to have been fouled by McAllister. Bit of space here for Danaskos, and you don't want to give his left foot too much space. Right. DiPizio spreads it wide again for Webber. Webber running at Akon. Good defending from Akol Akon. He's done very, very well shutting down Webber so far. Don't think Webber's broken through bar once in his whole first half so far. Antonio allowed to turn. Now Webber can get at Zdrilic. And good challenge from Zdrilic. Got that perfectly right there. It was either a yellow card or the inch perfect challenge, and it was the latter. But Sydney have to deal with a corner now. St. George's 5th of the first half. At one point, the corner count read 3-0 for Sydney FC. Now 5-3. Cross comes in toward the far post, and Sudis was waiting there. Akol Akon got his head to the ball, just ahead of Evangelos Sudis. A bit of pushing in the box there. Bay Antonio, and I can't quite see who the Sydney FC player is. It's Zach De Jesus. Slight hold up here while the referee speaks to both players. So just to calm down a little. Cross comes in. That'll be another corner, I think. It stayed in, looks like it. Everyone thought it went out. Casella tried to get his head to it. Yochan gets there ahead of Akon. Oh, and the foul goes against Akon. Sorry, against Yochan, I should say. And Akol Akon has stayed down. Moment here for Akon to receive some treatment now. Akon's still down. Chen Yochan there in close proximity. Yochan wanted the penalty. Instead, the foul went against him. Zavardinos will get us restarted after that little break in play. That's a late challenge there from DiPizio. Escapes the yellow card. Very, very late on Joe Lacey. Yochan putting the pressure on and almost forcing the error, but Sydney FC going backwards now because of Yochan's pressure, and right quickly there to continue the press. They've won the ball back now. Another foul in the middle of the park. Here's Rocco Smith. headed down. DiPizio comes across and has a lot of space here, and St. George have a lot of players forward. Casella is definitely onside. Casella on the left foot and just wide of the target. Great opportunity for the visitors. It's a good run through midfield by DiPizio. Found the pass as well for Casella. Zdilic kept him onside. He shot just wide of the upright. Zaverdinos takes the goal kick. Middleton clears forward. That one comes straight back at the FC defence. But they've dealt with it. France showing some good feet. Feeding the ball in for Headley, who should keep this in comfortably. He does so. Couldn't pick out a teammate though. A couple opportunities presenting themselves. Still, now Sydney gets their first corner in a little while. Can Sydney score again from a corner kick in swinger, and Siren there was scrambling back for the moment. Did well to get a punch to that. Had to. Zdilic's corner causing serious problems. It was very good there from Sordis. Mentioned earlier, being one of St. George's best players this season. Definitely caught the eye. His pass there just a little off. As I said, I think that St. George have perhaps been one of the most unluckiest teams in this year's competition. They've played some fantastic football, and the likes of Sito and Poon and Sordis have all performed really, really well, and they're all quite young. All with A-League aspirations, and definitely players that A-League clubs should be looking at. I mean, Sito as a centre-back, you look at him and you think that his height's a major issue, but he's got a fantastic leap about him. Very comfortable on the ball. Got great pace. That was nice from DiPizio, but doesn't complete it with the pass. Sordis has been very, very good in the midfield for St. George. Really led this team well. A lot of what they create comes through Sordis. And then Justin Poon up top. Incredible pace. Very direct and dangerous. All these players you hope to see one day given the opportunity in the A-League, because they most definitely deserve it, or at least the opportunity to showcase what they can do at the top level. Akon, good pass forward. Wanted it back from McAllister. France has it instead. Clips it in toward Akon, and should have got ahead to that. Akon. Another corner for Sydney though. Early corner taken short. Lacey, there was definite contact there. You could hear it from here. And now not sure Wright will get there ahead of De Jesus, who does very well to get back in time, but Jimmy Van Wieren not happy with that. No call either. There's another one. And look at that. Footwork from France. Dancing through it. Strong challenge from Cito, and Van Wieren disappointed with Marin France. He did very well to create the space and the opportunity for himself, but just didn't finish it off with the pass. But he might get on the end of this one. Oh, the flag's raised on the far side. Pizio back for Cito. All the way back to Mackenzie Siren. Pizio again. Arrived from Sydney Olympic in the transfer window. Zdrilic well read, and that's a bad challenge from Bay Antonio. Luckily, it didn't connect there with Zdrilic. And the defensive challenge may lead to a chance here for Sydney. Flags raised, but I'm not sure that's an offside. It's come off a St. George player. It was played back by DiPizio. The flag should not have gone up, and that's what Jimmy Van Wieren is claiming as well. And now arguments between St. George players. It's not a good sign. 3 minutes of time will be added on at the end of this first half. DiPizio and Weber having a real hard go at each other. We've got to focus on the job at hand and put that behind them, because Sydney will look for a second here. Well work there by De Jesus. Cross comes in toward Akon, but a little bit too far from him, and Weber was more worried about Akon than the ball and almost paid the price. Now Casella trying to lead an attack here for St. George. Foul there by Zdrilic and a yellow card for him. And McAllister getting a bit of a talking to from the referee as well. Here's Cito. Smart turn from Sordis. Needs to be careful. Bit of a swing out there as well. Can't afford to get any silly cards here. Evangelos Sudis. Weber. Back for Smith. Smith switches play for Danaskos. Fabio Micheli asking his team to play through the lines. Weber. Back for Rocco Smith. Sudis, right. This is more like St. George football. Lots of little passes, short passes I should say, with little touches. Antonio, good feet from him. Gets into the box, out for Danaskos, who delivers inside, and Zdrilic clears away ahead of Casella, and that's a beautiful turn from McAllister, who's seen Siren off his line! Great save from Mackenzie Siren to get back and keep that one out. But how about the awareness from Matthias McAllister? Perfect turn in midfield. A fine effort as well. And Mackenzie Siren does just enough. Would have been a worldie, that one. Would have gone viral, no doubt, in the last moment of the first half as well. We'll go into the break. Sydney leading by 1-0. Akon, the scorer, getting on the end of a Ty Headley corner. And just the 1 goal in this first half. Lots of action though. It'll be an intriguing second 45. We'll see you back in about 15 minutes time. Bye for now. And the teams are back out for the second half here at Illingdon Sports Centre. And it's Sydney FC that lead by 1-0. Akon the scorer. After a tight Headley corner, found Akon, who's putting Rocco Smith under some pressure early on. And Danaskos won't get there. Couple just going out of play. Good feet there from DiPizio, but ball ends up at the feet of Sydney. Quickly given away though. Now St. George in possession. Danaskos lifting it forward. Cleared away. Has been a halftime change. You can see the fourth official lift the board though to inform us who's been substituted. Dylan Rose has come on though. I think it could be Jared Middleton that's been substituted. Oh, that's a speculative effort there from Bay Antonio, but Zavadinos up to the task to hold that one. Almost caught him by surprise. Great touch from France, and I feel like France would have liked play to continue there. Delightful flick over Caden Wright. Ball back now for Siren. Has to search for Danaskos. Finds him. Danaskos somehow keeps it in. Cito read that. Now Wright. Closed down there by and substitute Rose. As the St. George injured bunch make their way around the ground, quite a few of them. Webber did well to keep the ball there under immense pressure. Great feet there and turn from Soudis. Releases Danaskos. First time ball. Yelchan was the target. Cleared away by Sydney. Here's France now. Very smart there from Murray in France. Put his body in front of Danaskos, who was always going to push him over there. I feel like young players don't do that enough in today's game. They aren't really taught to get their body in between the ball and the opponent. 9 times out of 10 in situations like that, the opposition player will bundle you over, as Danaskos did there to France. Here's Rose now. Ball played forward. We'll go all the way through to Siren. It was an intriguing first half, as we said. Chances at both ends for both teams. St. George perhaps will be somewhat more disappointed. 2 controversial calls going against them. First, the goal, which they thought was not a penalty, but that one was just a clear giveaway. And Akon, I'm not sure why he didn't take that on the right, but France might. Has a go. It's almost found its way to the bottom corner. It was about to squeeze in beyond Siren, but the keeper did just enough to get his hand out and keep that one out. Dipizio forced back. Siren looking for Chan, who can't flick it on. Now De Jesus crosses it into the box. Headley has a go, but the sting of that shot was taken off by Rocco Smith. And Siren collects. A good start to the second half from the home team. Watch the way they started the match as well. The first 10 minutes was all Sydney. And they found their goal in the 10th minute. But from there, St. George took over. And as we hit the half-hour mark, well, it was topsy-turvy from there on in. And there was a lot of this as well. St. George unable to keep the ball and find the required passes. Zavardinos clears away. And Smith gets ahead to it. And France, who's been dangerous all game for Sydney, on the ball now. And still Murray in France, and, well, head in his hands says it all. Nothing more required to be said there after that attempt from Murray in France. Good run by Zach De Jesus as well to take away one of the defenders and give France just that little bit more space to work with. Akon goes down off the ball. And France there, bouncing up and giving Soudis a bit of a shove. Now Danaskos. Back kills the ball for Caden Wright. And Soudis has the ball pinched there by Headley, and they've got numbers forward, and the pass was on for Akon. McAllister from distance. That's not one to write home about either. Some attempts Matthias McAllister had at the end of that first half where he turned inside his own half. On the edge of a circle inside his own half, should be said. Had a look up, saw Siren off his line and thought, why not? St. George keeper backtracking just enough to keep it out. Would have been one of, if not the goal of the season. We've seen some very, very good goals this year. Akon now searching for France, but just a little too far for him. Siren releasing Chan Yelchan early, and that's a great ball from the keeper. And Yelchan now one-on-one. Gets into the box, and too much there from Yelchan. Not enough support either. It's a dangerous challenge from Chan Yelchan. Says he got the ball, but got a lot of the man as well before the ball. Middleton putting his body on the line. Michelli just telling Yelchan he's got to get the ball in the box earlier. He's absolutely right. Moments like those need to run at the defender at pace and try to beat him as soon as possible. Foul goes against McAllister. On the bench, Sydney has Jacob Kremen-Cohen, Nick Alfaro, Reef Farias, Jordan Gradowski, and Kalen Marshall-White. St. George, Javier Rodriguez, Nicholas Kalajeru, Sunday Yona, Justin Poon, Nikola Škatarić. A very, very attacking bench. A lot of firepower there for Fabio Michelli as Akon gets into the box, goes down on the challenge from Smith. I think Smith did just enough to not warrant a foul. It was very, very dangerous and close, though. And a game with not much on the line. It's been quite fiery at times. And produced some very controversial moments so far. Smith almost getting caught in possession. Sito looking for the run of Yochan, and well read there by Jared Middleton. Antonio, some ball from Bay Antonio. It was almost the perfect pass for Jaden Casella. Here's Headley. Wright trying to shield the ball out and does just that. In fact, I think Joe Lacey was substituted, not Middleton. That's the change Sydney made. Lacey off for Dylan Rose on. Ball played wide here for De Jesus, who drives forward. Wright came across and made the challenge. Appeal to Sydney FC's staff next year to please find the white numbers for their jerseys. The navy numbers are so difficult to see in the evening. Make life a little easier for the commentators and the journalists. Jesper Weber will be withdrawn and Nicholas Kalajeru will be introduced for St. George. Justin Poon also readying himself to come on. Heavy touch from Yochan. He could be one to make way. I think that change will happen now. And it's Suris that's coming off. Somewhat surprising. And Justin Poon coming on in his place. As mentioned earlier, Kalajeru replacing Weber. Like for like that one. The other will see a bit of a reshuffle. Looks as though St. George have gone to a 4-4-2 now. Old-fashioned 4-4-2. Damaskos rushing out here and had to make that challenge because Marin France was looking to receive the ball in behind the left back. Looks as though Sydney will go to the bench as well and make a double change themselves. Cito under pressure. Goes back to Siren. Great ball by Siren. Not sure that's what he intended. Straight into the feet of Casella. Kalen Marshall-White will come in for Sydney. Here's a chance though for Poon, his first touch. And he had to just chip that over the keeper. But still, Probably not warm enough, Justin Poon, to find himself in a chance like that. Chance well saved again by Zavardinos. He's made two very good one-on-one saves. Jordan Graorowski will also come on for Sydney FC, along with Marshall White. Sito square for Smith. Forced to come back to the left, and that's a really poor ball because it allows Sydney to put some more pressure on St. George here, and Siren now had to turn away from Akon. Did well, to be fair. Nice touch from Poon for Bay Antonio, who sees the space and goes at it immediately. Plays it for Poon and cleared away. Similarly to the first half, it was Sydney that dominated the opening exchanges. And now St. George has taken control and started to create chances themselves. Zach De Jesus will be replaced for Sydney. And Akol Akon. Two substitutions. Jordan Graorowski and Kalen Marshall White come on. Graorowski, of course, knows this field very, very well. Rockdale Ilinden Jr. lit up the under-20s competition. And Julia deserved his move to Sydney FC. Jimmy Van Wieren very, very impressed with the youngster in the last couple of weeks as well. Spoke to him pre-game and was full of praise. And McAllister couldn't quite turn his body in time, but Rocco Smith is robbed of the ball, and Graorowski almost finding possession with his first touch, similar to Poon at the other end, and Williams will get a yellow here. Jimmy Van Wieren not happy with that decision. Early pass forward for Dipizio. Throwing for Sydney. He's Sito. Antonio. Sito drives out of defence. Saw the run from Poon, but was well defended by Middleton. Still have 25 minutes remaining in this one. They've won it back here through Yolchan. And it looks as though Nikola Škatarić will be the next one to come on for St. George. Ball chipped over the top. Read by Danaskos. Really excited to see Nikola Škatarić back on the field again. Error here by the Sydney defence, and Poon now. What can he show? Justin Poon, one-on-one. Great tackle there from Kalen Marshall White. Fabulous challenge. Corner now for St. George. Casella will deliver the outswinger. Cross comes in. Flicked away. Wright gets there first and delivers it back into the box, but not the best cross from him. Here's the Nascos. His pass is cut out. Double change incoming. Antonio, can they equalise before that though? Yochan just missing the ball and Zavardinos collecting it. It'll be Škatarić and Rodriguez to come on. As I was saying earlier about Škatarić, a couple years ago at Mount Druitt Town Rangers, really lit the league up, had a fantastic campaign. Moved to St. George and then suffered a terrible injury inside the first 5 rounds at Marconi Stadium. I was actually commentating that game, and after making a good start to the campaign, Škatarić has sat out for more than 12 months. Made a return about a month ago now. Slowly working his way back in, but definitely a very talented player. And he'll love the opportunity now to come on and potentially win his team a point, if not more. He's got enough time to do so. Cito for Donascos. Headley wins the ball. And Antonio fouls Headley. It'll be free kick to Sydney, but first we'll have the change. Yanni Di Pizio replaced by Nikola Škatarić. Javier Rodriguez coming on in place of Chen Yochan. Škatarić will move into the 9 role. Can play out wide as well. Great run from Casella, and Škatarić wants to play it ahead of him, but cuts back. Now Poon. Great ball from Poon wide for Antonio, who'll keep it in. Delivers first time into the area. Not a bad ball at all by Antonio. And now Wright! What an effort from Caden Wright. Struck that so sweetly. Looked as though it was heading in for the top corner. I think Zavardinos may have got a touch to that. Another phenomenal save from the keeper. What a strike from Caden Wright. And Alex Zavardinos has had some game in the Sydney FC goal. He just sat up so perfectly for Caden Wright, and the technique. What a goal that would have been. Casella to deliver the corner now. Lots of movement in the area. Cross comes in toward Rocco Smith, and I tell you what, Kalen Marshall-White had a full handful of Rocco Smith's jersey there, right in front of the referee as well. And I think if Rocco Smith made more of that, the referee would have been questioning whether or not that was a spot kick, but keep your eye on that. Cross comes in again. Can't beat the first play at the near post though. Calageru battling hard, but Sydney can break, and intelligent back heel from Ty Headley, and McAllister just gets caught on the ball, but Sydney continue their move forward. Here is Headley now. Rodriguez trying to hold him up. Smith back for Siren. Flicked on, comes back again. Bit of a battle there in the middle of the park, and the ball on its way through to Siren. Good work there from Headley and Grauroski, and Grauroski couldn't take it in his stride. Rodriguez came across. Rose closed down. Siren sends it away. Good header there from Marshall White. And a foul goes the way of St. George. Ball forward there, and Danaskos didn't make the run. Here's Headley again. Cito should comfortably play that back to Siren. Square for Smith. Last 15 minutes here now. And we approach the last 15, I should say. Here's Rodriguez. Good ball out wide. Cross comes in. Škatarić was the target, headed away. Škatarić comes back and picks it up. Cito. Danaskos. Now Poon. Back wide for Antonio. And Poon turns, faces toward goal. On almost that ball through from Rodriguez. Good recovery challenge from Javier Rodriguez. Header one by Danaskos. Danaskos will get it back again. And that ball fortunately got through for Antonio. Slid in there. Marshall White and getting the last touch over the sideline. Rodriguez for Cito. It's about that time now where St. George need to throw everything forward. Sunday Yona, another attacking option, still on the bench. Someone that Fabian Micheli can turn to if required. A neat little flick over the top by Calageru for Casella. And Casella won't be able to keep that in. Doesn't win the corner either. Goal kick for Sydney. It was a good run from Casella. Mikel Faro now to come on for Sydney FC. Marin France coming off. And going off on the far side is France. Sito puts his head on the line there. Clearance all the way up for a goal kick. And a bit of confusion there at the back, and the ball fell for Grajowski. I'll tell you what, though, it looked as though Caden Wright was pulling McAllister down. That may easily have been a penalty. St. George getting caught playing the ball out from the back. There's a handball there from Headley as well. Williams goes down and wins the free kick of Škatarić. And Smith. Oh, and a foul goes against St. George. Kalajeru not happy, leading the protests. And McAllister can most definitely hit a free kick. And he's sized this one up immediately. Ty Headley might have something to say. It's in a good position. Half a metre or so closer, it'd be perfect, but you don't get many better opportunities than this one from a free kick. How will Sydney approach this? And can they put this one to bed? A second goal now will all but settle the game. It is McAllister, went low, blocked straight into the wall. Headley clips it back to the far post. It's a good ball, but Siren comfortably claims that. And now Siren looking to release Poon early this time. Can strike a ball, Mackenzie Siren. Poon takes the throw early. Casella wanted the ball, played Poon, goes on his own. Back for Wright. Rodriguez, and they have to start all over again through Sito. Rodriguez given a bit of space to turn. Drove into the area in front of him, and Poon sprays it wide for Kalajeru. Rodriguez now. To Naskos. Square for Rocco Smith. Škatarić, maybe his first touch since coming on. Wins a corner. Sunday Yona being prepped now to come on. Fabio Micheli's last roll of the dice will be Sunday Yona. Micheli giving some instructions out of his technical area. Just being reminded by the referee. Cross comes in, dangerous ball, good header away. Right. Back for Sito. Kalajeru now. Good ball from Kalajeru. Casella for Rodriguez. Rocco Smith clips it in toward Bay Antonio. And Zavardinos will waste a few seconds here now. Inside the last 10 minutes Zavardinos just tempting Bay Antonio to come toward him. Wasted a good 20 seconds there, did Zavardinos. Stepping in for Gus Hoofsloot, who's now with the A-League team. Rodriguez switches wide for Danaskos. Now St. George can try and launch something here. Poon manages to keep it in. Tried to flick the ball through the gap for Danaskos, and in the end, throw in for Sydney, and that change will come now. Caden Wright coming off, a midfielder off for another attacker. Chile throwing it all now in the kitchen sink at Sydney, looking to get a point from this one. And Rodriguez gets rewarded for the battle there, winning the throw. Škatarić gets a touch out to Poon. Antonio back out to Sito. Recycling the ball now, St. George. Kalajeru looking for Yona, but it was a short pass. And Rocco Smith picks up that loose pass. Antonio Smith in a nosebleed territory for him, and Poon, that's disappointing from him. Disappointing ball. Had 3 red jerseys in the area, begging to be found with that pass. Sydney now calling on their final substitute, Reef Farias, preparing to come on. Gotta admit, I'm quite impressed with Alex Zavardinos' game management as well. Really slowing the game down, frustrating St. George. Well won there by Danaskos. Škatarić just out-muscled there. Another Sydney FC graduate came through the youth ranks there. Sito for Danaskos. Poon brings it down. Finds Rodriguez. Been very involved, Javier Rodriguez, since coming on. Antonio goes for a goal, takes a deflection, and Zavardinos was not moving there. He would have been stumped by that had it hit the target. But another corner for St. George, another chance to find an equaliser. Another corner routine now. Last one, everyone was camped in front of Zavardinos. Now everyone at the top of the box. Ball comes in a good area there, and it's volleyed home by the captain, Troy Danaskos. And St. George equalise with just over 5 minutes remaining. Another great corner from Casella. And this time, St. George take advantage. Troy Danaskos, the first to the loose ball in the box. 1-1. As Farias comes on and McAllister is replaced. And now the momentum is all with St. George for the final few moments. Can they find a winner? Here's Škatarić on the turn, looking for Yona. What a ball! And just in time, Zavardinos clears away. Škatarić heard the call and without even looking, threaded the needle. But Zavardinos aware to the danger. Quickly out to clear away and on the free kick as well. Rodriguez's pass intercepted. And Sito will need to be aware. Ty Headley got there first, but Sito defended well. Won it back. Here's Rose. Rocco Smith needs to be careful. Already on a yellow card from the first half. Done well to keep himself out of any dangerous tackles or situations. Sito driving forward. Rodriguez picking the ball up in midfield. Now Calageru. Bay Antonio. Ken St. George completely turned this on its head. Danaskos feeds in Poon. Farias, who's just come off the bench, marking Poon now. Great ball from Poon, but just a little too far ahead of Danaskos. The idea was right. Sydney take the goal kick short. Well won there by Smith. Antonio had Škatarić asking for the ball. Rodriguez now. Dance past a couple. Calageru. Back to Rodriguez. Smith wide for Calageru. Danaskos. You can feel the tension. And an error like that could open things up for Sydney. They've got the quality and the pace to damage St. George's hopes of pinching all 3 points. Chuckle there because Fabio Micheli not happy his goalkeeper's giving him heart attacks. As Antonio goes for a shot from distance. Ball bounces on the edge of the area. Danaskos heads it back into the danger. Here's Škatarić headed clear only as far as Rodriguez. Now Smith. Miscontrol there from Sito. Sends him back. Siren. This time doesn't want to stress his coach out. Clears it first time. No challenge there from St. George. And Micheli again. Telling his team to keep pushing. He wants the 3 points. Here's Calageru. Yona has the pace to beat any defender in the league. Škatarić drives forward looking for Casella. Played just behind him. We're into stoppage time now. Headley driving forward. Micheli asking for the foul there because Sydney had numbers, luckily for them. The pass was delayed and St. George is back in numbers, but Sydney continue their attack. Cross into the box and Siren claims. And Škatarić on his bike immediately. And blocked there. I thought it was Headley. And it wasn't Headley. Taken early there by Siren now. Danaskos looking for Poon. Ball played just behind him. 4 minutes to go. Poon gets in the box, goes down. No foul there. I think the referee's called a foul. just outside the box, and Casella's as confused as I am. But a chance, another chance now for St. George. Danaskos coming over, giving some instructions to Casella. Scored from their last set piece, Sydney. Both goals coming from set pieces in this game. Casella goes short. Antonio! And it almost fell there for Rocco Smith. Back to Calageru, who clips it back in. Danaskos. It was a free header. He should have done better with that, and he knows it as well. Two great chances for St. George to steal it at the end. Zavardinos now sends the ball long. And Rodriguez does well there to win the ball. Rodriguez again causing a real nuisance. A silly foul there by Poon. Unnecessary, really. And it's now allowed Sydney to get on the attack through Headley. Cross into the box. Yona, you just want to release him. So if he gets going, there's no stopping him. And Škatarić battles hard there. Wins the foul. Heavy touch from Danaskos and a foul as well. Referee just getting in the way there. Drop ball. Farias plays it forward. That's a nice ball from Farias. Flags raised though. Calageru will take the ball early. Cito for Danaskos. Is this the last chance for St. George to try and create something and perhaps take all 3 points? Calageru driving forward. Yona wants it played in front. He gets it. Not a lot of space to work with here for Yona. And he'll take the corner there, Sunday Yona. From the last corner, St. George equalised. Can they win it now at the death? Casella will deliver again. Ball comes in toward Calageru. Saved somehow again from Zavardinos. Cross comes in once more. Headed clear. Rodriguez has a shot blocked and it comes back to him once more. Now he lifts it back into the box. Smith can't get there. Headed away and Sydney survive. And that's full time at Illingdon Sports Centre. Sydney FC 1, St. George 1. And St. George almost stealing all 3 points in the end. Substitute Nicholas Calageru with a free header at the back post. He thought he won it. But Alex Zavardinos making another phenomenal save. Probably his 4th of the game. A fine performance from the Sydney FC goalkeeper. In the end, chances at both ends. St. George perhaps with the better opportunities. But both teams will need to settle for a point. Sydney took the lead through Akol Akon in the first half. They held that lead until the final 10 minutes when Troy Danaskos, St. George's captain, volleyed home. A loose ball from a corner. St. George almost pinching it in the final play of the game, but Alex Zavardinos coming out on top. Full time here at Illingdon Sports Centre in the first match of round 28 in the NPL New South Wales men's competition. And Sydney FC won, St. George won. And be sure to tune in to YouTube and watch the rest of the games of this round, because we have an exciting and enthralling final 3 rounds of this competition left to go. But for now, it's good night from Illingdon Sports Centre.